Hello and welcome to video number 7 of the 10-part quantum training for supported living DSPs. This is going to just talk about what the difference between locked and unlocked maps are. So pretty much maps that are baby blue are unlocked. Maps that are unlocked means you can edit them, you can add different tasks, you can change your notes, you can delete things that weren't meant to be there. However, unlocked maps will not generate payroll, nor will they generate billing. However, maps that are colored kind of like a pinkish salmon are locked, which means you cannot do anything with them unless you contact your program manager. So if you notice an error on a locked map, you can't fix it. However, if there's an error on a baby blue unlocked map, then you can. However, locked maps is what generates reports and your payroll and all of that. So this will be a rather quick video, but just to kind of show you what we're talking about. In the prior video, we learned this new time card review report, where you can go back in time, and you can just, again, view your time. Now remember, locked maps will show up in reports. So everything we see here is locked. So if I'm confirming my time, and let's say hypothetically, on the 29th of October, I really didn't work from 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. I accidentally entered it in, but I really didn't work there. Well, it's too late. Since it's locked, there's nothing I can do. And just to show you what that means is, let's actually open up a map for that house. In this case, I worked in 5301. If I go back to that date, which I think was the 29th, I worked from 1 hour from like 4 to 5 a.m. There we go. Since it's this pinkish salmon color, I can't do anything. So if I come over here and try to clear it, it's going to say it's locked and it cannot be edited. So in this instance, I have to contact my program manager for them to unlock it so I can get it done. That, or you can just tell them, hey, I have a map open on the I have a map on the 29th for 5301. It's not supposed to be there, and they can just go ahead and just delete it for you. But again, there's nothing you can do. You can't add anything. It's completely locked, and that's why it shows up on the report. So in the event that you notice there's an error on a map that is colored pink, you as staff cannot do anything. Your program manager is going to have to step in. However, in that prior video, in Commandment number 6, I showed you, in this situation, I had a map that was missing. In this case, October 30th was missing. I took vacation day, and it's not showing up here. So in this instance, if I was to go look at a map and it's blue, blue maps are unlocked. So since they're unlocked, it doesn't show up in that payroll report that I just ran. But I can edit. I can do anything I want down here. So in this case, I had midnight to 8 a.m. of vacation time. But let's say it was really only to 6 a.m. I could just come over here and remove it. Because again, now that it's an unlocked map, I can change anything I want about it, but it's not going to show up on any payroll report. Now, as an auditor, I do have to stress this just because it's brought up in audit, and it's just a safety check. Let's say you know that payroll is supposed to be submitted, let's say in 30 minutes. So in 30 minutes, everything in the system is going to be submitted for payroll. Your program managers and my staff have already done their due diligence. We're already ready to go. And let's just say, let's go back. Let's go to another blank day. So payroll's about to be submitted. There's a day where you didn't have any information in it, and you say, I'm going to just throw in a bunch of hours just to see if I can get paid for it. So I'm just going to just highlight a bunch of time. Let's just say I was doing training the entire day. Well, you as staff don't have the ability to lock any maps. Only your program managers do. So if I did this just so I could see if I could get paid for it, guess what? You're not going to, because we lock everything, we notice everything as we're doing it. So if you were to create a map, 30 minutes before payroll is supposed to be submitted, we're going to see it and we're not going to be able to pick it up. So, again, as an auditor, I do have to mention that because it's a safety net on payroll and the expense side. So you can't just create time out of nowhere just so you can get paid. It's not going to go through. And like I said, if you go ahead and just enter it, just like we did here, I just entered in a bunch of training hours. It's not going to go through. As you can see, it is still an unlocked map. So even though payroll is supposed to be submitted in, say, 30 minutes, and we really just did this just to throw in a bunch of hours as payroll was submitted, you just wasted your time. It's not going to prove anything because it's not locked. It's not going to pay. So just keep that in mind. Because anything that's same in color is what's going to be picked up in payroll. So anything that's in blue will not. So going back to this instance here where I had took vacation day on the 30th, well, if payroll's about to be submitted and the 30th fell in the pay period, this is kind of getting a little urgent because I want to be paid. I think this was 8 hours. I want to be paid these 8 hours because I took a day off. I've earned vacation time, but since it's a unlocked map, it's not going to get picked up in payroll. So this is an instance where you may want to contact your program manager right away and let them know, hey, I got a map that's unlocked and payroll's about to be submitted. So will I be able to be paid for this? So just keep that in mind. But that's the whole purpose of unlocked versus locked maps. Again, anything that's light blue means you can edit it, but it will not show up in any reports. And by reports, I mean your payroll report. It won't be picked up for billing. It won't be picked up for payroll. It's just sitting there. It's not doing you any good. However, by the same token, anything that's this pinkish salmon color, you can't edit. It's not going to let you do anything. But this is what's going to be picked up for payroll. Also, I did this earlier this morning as a topic for one of the earlier videos, but I thought I'd go ahead and just mention it now just because it's on the screen. If you remember back in, I think it's Commandment number 2 or 3, here's a big no-no. Again, vacation is a staff code. It's showing up down here in the client portion of the grid. Again, it's going to be deleted, so this is a big no-no. Thankfully, it shows up here, so you're going to be paid for it, but again, it's a staff code, which means you weren't doing anything with the clients, so the fact that it's down here is a complete waste, so I just thought I'd mention that. Again, that's kind of a off-topic for this commandment, but I thought I'd mention it just because it's showing up. So in the event that you entered in a staff portion down here, in this case, let's say vacation time, but it does not show up here, and the map is locked. Since it's not up here in the your part of the grid, you're not going to be paid for it. So please keep that in mind, because again, if you did put a bunch of hours like vacation or sick time, and you accidentally put it down here in the client portion, it's not going to show up here. So that means you won't be paid for it. So again, just make sure that staff codes are showing up here, because again, in this case, this is a locked map. I can't delete it, but thankfully it will be deleted because again, it doesn't serve any purpose. But the fact is that that vacation time is showing up on my portion of the grid, which means at the end of the day that you or myself in this situation is still get paid vacation time. So again, just as a reminder, anything that is salmon, you can't do anything with it. If you do notice an issue, you need to contact your program manager to fix the issue, or fix the error, or add anything to it that you need to. Again, if it's light blue, you can do anything you want to it, but it's not going to be picked up for anything. Actually, before I go, this is a situation that we had in the prior video. I think it was the 1st of November. We had a self-overlap. So in this instance, from midnight to noon, I was working in one house, but in another house, I was working from midnight to 6 a.m. Now, you may notice that it doesn't tell you which house you're in, which is kind of a weakness of this report. So that's why, again, if in the event that you do work multiple houses during a shift, or during a day, excuse me, making sure that you stop entering in on one house's map and you pick it up at the other house when you get over there. Because the only time that you run the risk of having a self-overlap is when you do have multiple houses within a day. So in this instance, it is showing up on this report, which means it's a locked map, but again, I'm not going to be paid for 12 hours here and then 6 hours here. The 6 hours is going to have to go because I'm not going to be paid for it. But again, it's a locked map, which means I can't do anything with it. So at this point, again, you can let your program manager know, hey, I have 6 hours of overlap that on myself for the 1st of November. But at the end of the day, like I said, when we submit payroll, we're going to catch it. But from our end, we're just going to remove 6 hours. Any note and activities that you put in will just get wiped out. So it's best if you let your program manager know, because that way we can track down which exact house and the clients you were with. Otherwise, me or my staff is just going to remove it, and all the notes that you've entered in, which is actually the topic for the next commandment video, will be gone. And if that's the case, then you could have wasted a bunch of time entering in information on a client, because we're just going to wipe out your hours right then and there. So keep that in mind, because again, if it shows up on here, it's a locked map, which means you can't edit it. Obviously, something has to be edited because I can't have two maps for the overlapping time, so one of them is going to have to go. And again, just let your program manager know, excuse me, and we can go from there. But that is commandment number 7, and we'll see you for number 8. Thank you.